I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC. Hey guys, welcome back to the Drone Camps channel. I have another awesome review here for you today. We have something new from Hobbyco and TowerHobbies.com. This is the Black Edition Vusion 250 FPV Racer. Now this one's different than the original yellow one that we showed you on the channel. That's about a $350 price bundled FPV kit. Comes with everything, the goggles, the transmitter, all that good stuff in one box. But this one is different because if you already have a Rise transmitter, you can link this one up with this one and go flying the same day. It doesn't come with goggles, and this one actually retails for about $219 without the transmitter. So this is going to be a little more affordable for some of you guys. If you already have FPV goggles, you don't want to use the Vusion goggles, you can actually use your own 5.8 goggles with this. If you have Fat Shark or anything else that has 5.8 on it, that's really nice. You also have the standard style cloverleaf on the top of this, which also seems to be pretty durable, quite short actually, which is good because you don't want it super tall off the top of this quad. And it's going to run that familiar 3S battery that comes along with it, that 1500 3S. I've got that one over there on the charger. We're going to go out in just a minute and fly, but this one has a lot of the same characteristics. It has that built-in FPV camera. It has a pop-up camera lens here on the front, 200 milliwatt transmitter, 2 bands on here, and I believe 8 channels, and it also runs race bands, so that's also pretty cool. It also has those quick release arms on here. In case you break one of these, you can actually pop this on and put a whole new motor and arm assembly on here. So that's really nice for beginners because it makes maintenance really easy. It also has this built-in LEDs in the very front, and overall maintenance on this one, as I said, would be pretty easy for a new guy because a lot of these parts on here are actually kind of plug and play. They just pop on and off. A lot easier than working on something like an X Racer or something with flight controller stacked VTX combo up in the center of the quad. So it's going to be a little easier for the new guys to work on this one. But it does have that star connector back here for Tower Hobbies, kind of main brand there for their battery connector. Now it is also compatible with any kind of Dean's type charger. If you have a charger with a Dean's cable coming off of it for a battery lead, you can charge this battery on your standalone charger. No big deal. Now we also have motors on here that are the same exact as the other quad that you saw on the channel, 1806. These are 2200 kVs, and they are clockwise and counterclockwise on here. They have some cool sort of green props up front, black in the rear. And like I said before, I felt like these motors were kind of undersized for the particular weight of this quad, but this is kind of geared toward beginner FPV quad flyers. So this is going to give you a much easier experience out of the gate. You don't want to have 2205s for your first FPV racer. It's going to be a little bit through the roof, so to speak. It's going to be a little bit powerful for you. So if you start out with something like 1806s, and that's actually what I started out with for my first 250 size racer 2 to 3 years ago, was actually 1806s on my ZMR 250. So it was kind of a standard motor size at the moment, but now for this size in the beginner, this is kind of perfect. You also have on the side of this quad, exactly like the other quad, you have that micro SD port right here, so you can add your own micro SD card and record from the transmitter your photos and videos right here. So no external DVR needed. It's got a built-in DVR right here on the quad. So let's go ahead now outside. Let's get that battery finished up charging over there. Let's do a little flight demo and commentary on this new Black Edition Vusion 250 Racer. So before we go out and do our flight demo, guys, I'm going to show you some real important Drone Camps information about how to link up your Rise transmitter with this particular quad. If you don't want to see that, you can go ahead and fast forward this part. But this is going to be critical information for people who buy this particular quad because it does come as an ARF. So you'll need to bind it up to a Rise transmitter. And now I'm going to show you the way to do that. But before I do that, I also want to let guys know that if you wanted to fly this quad off of a different radio, you don't have to do it with the Rise transmitter. You can bind it up using something else with an external receiver. This little port right here, this little white port right here, you can get a cable that comes off the back here, and you can can hook it up to a variety of other receivers like Spectrum receivers or Futaba receivers. So pretty much covers everybody there, and it's going to be the same way you bind it up with your other receiver. Now once this cable's plugged in, you can use that bind button right there on the receiver board right there to activate that external RX. Now if you're going to use the built-in RX on here to this transmitter, it's a very simple process. Let me go ahead and show you that. You want to take your props off. Don't do like I have here on the bench with the props on. You see these LEDs are red right now. Go ahead and press and hold that red button. It's going to put it into bind mode. 2 to 3 seconds, you'll see it flash. Now go ahead and turn on your Rise transmitter and you're going to hear a beep and it'll be automatically bound, and these two will go solid red. So there you go. Now it's all activated, it's all bound up, ready to go. The switches are good to go, and now I can go out and fly. Alright guys, let's go ahead and take off and let me get you a very objective review of this quad. Now this is a beginner racer quadcopter. The whole outfit, nothing about this quad is a pro racer. So I just want to say that right out of the gate before I even get into explaining what's going on here with this quad. Now you see that FPV view down on the bottom right. See how smooth that is compared to the larger view that you're seeing there? You're seeing a bit of jello there on that DVR recording coming from the main camera. Now the camera itself needs a little more isolation from the body of the quad. Its problem is that it has some vibration happening between the power system and how the camera's mounted. So to isolate that a little more, what you probably need to do is take a little tab of VHB and put it underneath the front part of this camera where it pops up. It'll just soften some of that bounce that's occurring, and I believe that's what you're seeing right here is some bounce, because that camera is actually a pop-up camera. It's not on like a 4-bolt fixed position, and a lot of FPV cameras are mounted pretty much hard mounted to the frame, and that isolates a lot of vibrations. So you have various modes. Like I said, in this quad you have stability mode 1 and 2, and you also have sort of an acro mode like you're seeing there. I can do some rolls, I can try to do some backflips, like right here. Whoops, I almost lost it there. Now it is squirrely in acro mode. It's not quite as locked in as like a pro racer is going to be with Betaflight on there, so keep that in mind. When you click into that third position switch all the way down on the left hand side, the furthest switch towards you, you're going to flip into this mode with no stabilization whatsoever. So be prepared for that. Be really high up in the air. Try not to do that 3 feet off the ground, because you're going to just dump this quad on the ground. But the cool thing about this quad is that if you do dump it, you slam dunk it really hard. You walk over, you might have some pieces hanging off of it. It might be the arm snapped off, but you can go to your local hobby shop and you can pick up a new arm and you can have this thing flying again by the next afternoon. So that's a really, really important factor for beginners, is that you can fix this yourself. And that's probably the biggest positive for getting into FPV. And if you have external goggles, guys, you can record from your external goggles and you'll get a much better, less jello looking picture than what we're seeing here. Now it will show a little bit of the jello because you're still looking through the same camera, but this DVR seems to have way more than my actual Fat Shark goggles did. And I'm just coming right around to the path here. It's getting blown around by the wind. Further out in the field right there, it was really cranking out there, so almost got pushed into the trees. But flying around in stability mode for beginners, this is absolutely perfect, because you can see how much control I hear. I'm right maybe a few feet off the ground, and I have plenty of control. Just pushing forward on the stick and cruising. And that's what this one's for. This one is for learning. They did a full-out multi-GP race with this one, I believe late last year, early this year, and they had a bunch of pro racers racing these all together. They had probably maybe 8 people on the course at once, possibly 6 to 8 people flying these. Pretty cool race because it puts everybody using the same setup. No one has any kind of advantage. But a pretty cool beginner quad. Like I've said before in my other review, I recommend it because it's easy to work on and it's kind of a headache-free type of quad. So thanks again for watching, you guys. I'm Justin Davis. I'll see you on the next one. Happy flying.